Allegedly, Ian. Right? Are you trying to run the logical problem of evil here?
Fucking dumb bitch. Oh yeah, okay. Because there is no problem with evil. You dumb bitch.
Well, wait. There is a problem of evil. Problem of evil.
Okay. What do you take it that the logical problem of evil is?
I just told you I'm not running a logical problem of evil.
Oh, okay. So running an internal contradiction.
Of evil,
okay, so if we're running an internal contradiction, what is the internal contradiction?
That's the logical problem of evil.
How does God contradict his standard of morality?
Lord.
Go ahead.
Can someone muzzle this guy? He said he's not running the logical problem, retard. You're referring to the evidential one, which is... What the fuck? Anyways, so, allegedly, Ian, like, what's gonna be the issue? God?
With what?
Oh, wow.
Presumably you're running the evidential one, right?
Are we serious?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's the issue? I was unexpected for this to be evil, given God being omnipotent, and also...
Please, because you don't read your Bible.
Bro, yeah. By the way, I fuck with you, Ian.
Don't read the Bible.
Try not to blame.
So
they tell you exactly why.
When we read through the Bible, we would expect So we have like a couple of pieces of data from like the
we
biblical
come into the world as sin.
Fuck, jeez.
Okay.
Official, you're annoying, bro. Just get muted.
This guy must have some sort of mental on us.
So it says like God's law is written on your heart. So we should expect our moral intuitions to be like approximately accurate, or like at least in the fucking ballpark. But then you start reading through the Bible, and it's just like psychotic, right? Like it features things like God commanding genocide or God commanding bears to maul boys. Presumably, God wouldn't give us like a moral intuition. If God's the one who gave us our moral intuition, we would expect like his actions to be at least like somewhat in the ballpark with the moral intuition, and it's just not.
Yeah, so what's going to be the argument for your hermeneutic currently? Because you're employing the hermeneutic where it's going to follow that this means that we have some moral intuitions that are going to be mostly or completely congruent with God's normative commands. So what's the hermeneutic?
No. Just in the ballpark.
Is that an answer to my question? Maybe I should use like simpler, like vernacular.
Well, because your question of that I'm saying that like in most cases or in all cases it is that way, and I'm telling you that that's not true. I don't agree with that.
Wait, so that's the force dichotomy, right?
What is?
So you think? So if I said to you like universal quantifier or extension quantifier, that would be force dichotomy, right?
For what?
What? For any set you quantify over.
Are you saying? I don't know what you're talking about.
Lord have mercy, right? So I'll make it simpler for you. Your interpretation of the verse assumes that what it's saying is that our moral intuitions are going to be congruent with God's normative ethics, right? So I'm asking for the hermeneutic, which is your method of interpretation.
Yeah. If God wants us to find him, if he wants to be like drawn towards the Bible, we would expect that he would make the Bible in a way. He would make us in a way and also make the Bible in a way where these things are like compatible and congruent, and that it's easy to read the Bible and say, wow, I think this is like true or meaningful. And instead, probably like the biggest driving wedge that keeps people from being Christian is the Bible itself. There's just no way around these verses. They're horrible.
Yeah, so if we were to grab this hermeneutic to be true, right, that what it's trying to convey is that a moral intuition is going to bring God's normative ethics, and the reason for believing this would be that the goal of the Bible is to be easily understood by all individuals, and presumably they wouldn't actually want to hold to that meaning of the verse. It actually decreases. You didn't say it's understandable.
I didn't say that its goal is to be. Yeah, in the goal of the Bible isn't to connect with every single individual. Just that the people who come along the Bible, come across it, those with an open heart and an open mind, or whatever the fuck the Christian wants to say, those people would resonate with it at some level. And that's just not true.
That could be true under either hypothesis, whether it is referring to that or not. That wouldn't even increase the credence for your hermeneutic. To try and give me a reason to believe your hermeneutic to actually be true.
If God's all good...
Are you not getting...
then he wouldn't want us to get tortured forever. He would like take basic steps to where people don't get tortured forever.
And that's gonna assume
If
some
he
normative
made the
again.
book in such a way, if he made the book in such a way where
So this is just
people
question
were
begging, by the way.
averse to it, he couldn't be
I hope
all
he knows this is
good.
question begging. Yeah, so the first thing you said, which is that if God is so good, we expect him to not like be adverse to, for instance, like suffering. That's gonna assume.
I didn't say that, but
moral
I grant
intuitions,
because
such
I've
as
been
being
slamming you so hard in this dialectic, you're concussed. That's why you can't quote what I say accurately. You have to misquote it each time.
Anyways, right? So that's going to be saying that our moral intuitions are congruent with that given stipulation. If that's true, then you're assuming the very thing I've asked you to prove, retard. I've asked you to prove the hermeneutics is going to be true, insofar as saying that verse you're referring to, which I believe is going to be, I think it's Jeremiah, for instance, is saying that our moral intuitions are congruent with God's normative ethics. You're assuming that. It's question begging. Does that make sense?
No?
So,
Why
do
is
you want
that
to repeat your
question
first
begging?
claim?
Wait, sorry, wait. What's the conclusion and how am I presupposing it?
The conclusion should be that the verse is trying to say that our moral intuitions are congruent with God's or ethics. And you assume that for premise one, and premise one went along the lines of this. If God is all good, we'd expect X, Y, and Z, and X, Y, and Z is something that's congruent with our congruent with our moral intuitions, right? That's just assuming the thing is supposed to prove. Does that make sense?
Why would that be presupposing?
Is anyone else not getting this?
Yeah, I'm a little confused.
Whatever, Mercy. So, if I say to you, for instance, can you prove X, right? And what you're telling me is like, yeah, we're going to assume X for premise one, which is what you just did. That'll be question begging. And I've explained how you've just done that. You've assumed that what you just stipulated is part of God's normative ethics. That's just merely going to be some moral intuition. Does that make sense?
Oh, the text of the Bible that God wants everyone to be saved.
You said suffering. It's got nothing to do with being saved.
The suffering in the Bible causes people to turn away from it, causing people to not get saved. What are you not tracking?
Wait, how is that going to follow?
If the Bible, are you Christian?
Yeah, I'm Christian. I'm Oriental
sure.
Orthodox.
So if the Bible features God giving people the fucking rape penalty, if it features God calling bears to maul kids, and then people read this and they say, fuck, I don't think this guy is very kind, then they're just not going to believe in him.
Once again, that's going to assume the moral intuitions does actually map on to the objective moral facts, which they don't.
It's
So that's
just
not going
a
to be an issue.
statistical fact. It's a statistical fact
Sure,
about
that's
what
going to be
people do
relevant
when
to the
they
claim.
encounter these
The
verses.
claim you made initially was that the verse you refer to is trying to convey that our moral intuitions are congruent with God's normative ethics. This whole charade has not proven any of that or even increased the credence. So I've asked you for your hermeneutic, and you failed to give it to me.
I've given it to you multiple times, but because you're geriatric,
so do you want to repeat it?
probably don't remember it.
Do you want to repeat it for
Yeah,
everyone?
I'll repeat it for you because you got slammed, you're concussed, you don't remember it.
So you're going to tell us
If
the
God
hermeneutic,
wants us
right?
to find a relationship with him, then the verses and the fact that the verses in the Bible are so off-putting is unexpected on that hypothesis.
Just to be clear, this guy just gave me a Bayesian inference when I've literally asked him for the hermeneutic. Hermeneutic means method of interpretation. You understand that, right? I didn't ask you for the evidence
Yeah?
going to increase the grid. I'm asking you for the method of interpretation. So what's the method?
I'm not really sure how to answer that. Like, what might be an answer to that question? I don't know. Like, what would you say the hermeneutic is?
You could say 16. My view would be irrelevant here because I'm not the one making the claim.
Sorry, why is the hermeneutic necessary?
Yeah, because it's going to increase or decrease the credence of your interpretation.
Sure. So, either it's the case that like you can draw either the words in the verse mean something
this is
like
your hermeneutic
approximately
currently,
like
right?
what they're written in. Sorry, do you want the answer? How about you start channeling the Holy
I'm
Spirit
asking
and
this is
you
your
give
hermeneutic.
patience? Who do you think Jesus
Is
would
this your
overtalk?
hermeneutic?
Wait,
Just
okay,
calm
wait.
down.
If
Do you
you'll know
think this
them
is
by
your
their fruits,
hermeneutic?
right? Wait, will you know them by their fruits? Because
know them by
you're
my
like
fruits.
single-handedly lowering the credence of Christianity being true by how much of a bad
Can you
faith
just answer the
scumbag you're being
question?
right
I've
now.
asked you what the hold on.
Yo,
Is
he
your
doesn't
current
actually want to
claim
be
going to
held
be
in
hold
account.
on?
Do you think Jesus would be
Is your
proud of your
next
debate
claim
performance
going
here?
to be the hermeneutic? Yep.
Wait,
Is your next claim going to
so
be the hermeneutic? Yes or no?
yeah, wait, I was actually in
Just
the middle
dodging
of
the
giving the
question.
hermeneutic. Yeah, I was actually in the middle of
Okay.
giving it.
Bear in mind it's the method of
But it seems like
interpretation.
you're actually
Bear that
wholly
in mind.
uninterested in a
Continue.
good faith dialogue. But of course, like you will
Can you
know them by their
continue?
fruits.
Can you continue?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you actually want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I take the verses to mean, uh, you're going to need to approach each verse like contextually. But in general, if a verse can be interpreted literally without it being like obviously false or like obviously out of line with the intention of the person, you should probably do that. Otherwise, it seems like God is a pretty shitty communicator.
Okay, so we should take the verse literally. So when it says, for instance,
That's not what I
that we should, the
said.
law is written, you've just said that. If it's written in such a way, you can take it literally. So we should take it literally. You've just said that.
If you can
You
take
literally
it
just said that. You don't
literally,
understand, right?
if you can take it literally in a way that is in line with the context, if the context implies that it's being used in like some literal way, then you should take it that way. If it's clearly a metaphor, then don't take it literally. And if it's ambiguous, then I think it's also fine to take it literally.
So what's going to be it? Yeah. So what's the indicator for it being a metaphor then?
The specific wording, combined with like the facts that the people at the time knew. So, for example, if they're saying like, outer space is water, like they do in Genesis, the reason why you can assume that they probably meant this literally is because that's literally in their cosmological models. Like the cosmological models of the people at that time included a belief that outer space was water. So that's why you would assume that that's literal. You can tell what's literal and what's not literal by going back to the time itself and seeing how they interpreted it.
So it'd be safe to say, just referring to context, right? The context is going to be indicative of what they mean, right? Is that okay to say?
Do you listen to like a fucking word that I say? Can you
Yeah.
can you actually
That's what I'm
summarize back
asking
what
you.
my answer was?
Yeah. So you
Because
said,
my
for
answer
instance, you
wasn't
gave
like
the
I listened
example.
to the
I'm about to
context,
answer you.
man. Yeah,
I'm
go
trying
for
to
it.
answer you. Yeah. So you said the example you gave was to do with the Bible saying there's water surrounding the earth, right? You said that could actually they probably like actually meant that or believed that because it was part of their cosmological models, which seemed to be context to me. You don't take it into context, that's fine. Which I was clarifying and asking you. So are you just referring to context? If not, then just say no. So I recant to you what
Yeah.
you said to me. Do you now understand
Sure.
why I asked you if you're just referring to context? It seemed like context to me. Is that okay?
It's well because I don't think that that's context. I take context to be the type of thing that's within the book itself, like the surrounding verses, for example.
Sure. We could just say some different word for it then. Context, for instance. Could we say schmontext? Could we use schmontext to increase the credence?
Typically, when we're talking about the context of a verse, we're referring to the way that it fits into the rest of the Bible verses, the way that it fits into the text.
Okay. So we could say background information then. Would that be better to say?
Specifically related to the verses themselves.
Sure. So could I say that?
Sure.
Amazing.
Although
So,
you could say that in terms of like the verses themselves, but then I also rely on like the historical interpretations of it.
okay. So what's the historical interpretation to also the background information that increases the credence of your interpretation of the verse then? Could you explain? Or give me the case studies?
Yeah, just that it's widely interpreted that verse refers to our moral intuitions being ones that are in line with God. That like the law is like
Historically,
written
right?
on your heart.
You said historical
That's like
interpretation,
you
so
can
this
you
is going
can
to be
see like the
historically, correct?
prevalence of that in things like the argument from morality,
Yeah, but is this
or like
historically
the
true?
argument from like
In history,
shared moral intuitions. So
so
it
in
seems to be like a
history,
pretty
people
wide
tended to
interpretation of
hold
it.
on. I'm just trying to. The people in history tended to interpret it that way, correct? Right?
That's not the argument.
I know, but you just said the virtues you hold to is A, there being significant background information that increases the credence, and B, also historical interpretation. Anything else would be highly relevant to this. I'm being charitable, just asking you, or you say this is historically true? Because if it was currently true, it would
So
be
okay,
irrelevant.
wait. Yeah, you should probably just try listening. I feel like it's like pretty easy. What I'm saying is that it's widely interpreted as being
No,
a
God.
fact
I
about our
heard that.
psychological
That would
states
be
that the
irrelevant.
moral
Lord
laws
have
are
mercy.
written on our heart. You can see this in like various philosophical arguments about how we have shared
What?
moral intuitions.
You're just saying it's intuitive to say that. Sure, that's not even. So you take intuition to be some sort of virtue here? That's going to increase the credence?
Did I even use the
I'm actually
word?
trying to be
Maybe I'm fucking stupid. I don't even think I used the
you
word
can use it.
intuition.
I know, because you need different words to capture certain concepts, because terms are polysemous. Look, is that
I
okay to
don't think
say?
I just didn't, I simply did not use those words. Like, what the fuck? Why
You
are you
don't
putting
have
so
to,
many
do
words in
you?
my mouth?
You don't have to use that. Do I have to use the exact same words as you, really?
Yeah, when you're focusing like really heavily
So
on words like
what you
intuition that
said,
I never
what you said,
said,
hold on. What you
because
said,
you probably wish that I
I'm
said
just
like
trying to
my Bible
respond.
interpretation is just what makes me feel good, man. It's just my intuition.
No, not really.
Unfortunately, I just didn't say that. I'm
Not
sorry.
exactly. Yeah, okay. So what I'm trying to ask you is, did you not just claim that it's widely interpreted as such, given like some psychological disposition, something along those lines to do with psychology? You did mention the word psychology. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, specifically like
Yeah,
the interpretation of it in
to
philosophical
me that sounds like
fields
intuition.
indicates
To me
it's
that sounds
not.
like intuition.
It's
Okay,
not.
we can say we disagree on the definition, but to me that's what it sounds like. We can just use like some idiosyncratic definition for this instance. Is that okay? So the correct definition of intuition in this debate captures the idea. Sure, we can use it idiosyncratically.
I
Is that
take
okay?
intuition to be like some kind of seeming. My argument isn't that it like seems to
Yeah,
be this way.
clearly, right? Because you don't agree with the definition, but I'm saying for the debate, for the sake of brevity, are you willing to grant this idiosyncratic usage of the term? Yes or no?
What's your usage of the term?
Yeah, so when I say intuition, I mean anything that's referring to like psychological dispositions.
Sure.
It's purely psychological disposition. Yeah, great, amazing. So I understand it's idiosyncratic, but in this instance, it sounds like you're appealing to intuition in the way we define it currently. That's okay to say, correct? Because we agree on the
No,
definition, right?
because no, that
Oh.
is literally just not the argument.
So you
People,
didn't refer to
so the
psychology then,
argument
right?
is about the way that people are invoking these things, like the types of arguments that exist in the philosophical literature. People interpret this verse as meaning like people have these shared moral. They're making a claim about the
This
types
would
of
be
arguments that
irrelevant anyways.
philosophers make.
You're just making
I
the
am not
inference.
making the
You're making
argument
the
that those
inference that people
philosophers make.
interpret as
I'm
such.
making an
Therefore, it
argument
must.
about the arguments
You're
that those
making
philosophers
the
make. You
inference.
are like
Hold
three
on.
steps
Hold on.
behind.
Yeah, yeah. So the inference you're making is that because many people currently interpret it as such. For instance, the case study site is going to be the literature, how they use it for their arguments that invokes that type of interpretation. That means it's likely meaning that, or it is meaning that. I don't know why to even accept that, given that your prior virtues were, like I just said, A, there being significant background information increasing the credence, or B, historical interpretation. This is current interpretation, which I'm fine if you want to do something ad hoc. That's fine. I
Wait,
need to figure out what
I
virtue
never
this
made
really
any
is.
claim about like being like an exhaustive list of the virtues.
Sure, that's all I'm currently acquainted with. Do you want me to read your mind or something?
Sure. Okay,
And you
wait.
can blame
So
me for just assuming those that.
that's fine. That's fine.
That's
But
all
you
you
shouldn't have
told me.
assumed.
Oh, my bad. So what's the
Yeah,
other
it is your
virtues then?
bad.
So when I ask you for hermeneutic and I ask you method of interpretation, you don't think you should give me your virtues, right? Should only two of them? Are you
I don't have
serious?
like a definitive list of virtues. I can give you some examples of some virtues, but I don't think anybody's going to
Sure.
be able to give you like a definitive list of like hermeneutic virtues. Like if I asked you for a
Yes.
definitive list of hermeneutic virtues, would
Yeah,
you
I
be
could
able to
do
tell
that.
me?
I could do that
Oh,
pretty
please.
easily.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, what's your definitive
Yeah, it's
list?
not my burden. It's not my burden, right? But look,
Oh, yeah, it
instead
sounds
of you
like you
trying to
actually
pivot
couldn't do
away,
that pretty easily. Sounds like you got caught fucking
okay,
immediately.
okay. Anyways, so can you give me your other virtues that you hold to?
Not that I know of.
Well, apparently one of them is actually current interpretation. That's what it sounds like currently,
Yeah.
because you just made the inference
Yeah,
that
the
it's
context
currently
clues of
interpreted
the
as such.
verse, the current
Okay,
interpretations, previous
context.
interpretations, yeah, all of it, yeah.
So current interpretations, previous interpretations, for instance, context, back information, etc. Okay, fine. If the current and the previous or like past interpretation were at conflict, which one would we value more, current or previous?
It probably depends on the verse.
Why? Why would it depend on the verse?
So, for some verses, I'm sure that our translations have gotten better over time, and that our access to like the types of information in the manuscripts that we have gotten better.
Sure.
So we would have like a better understanding of some verses based on context. That's like a plausible thing. So it would probably depend on the verse.
Sure. So you presumably value, in those cases, you presumably value the past interpretation though, because they have a greater idea of what they actually mean, given like they're acquainted with the idioms, etc. Right? Like, the way they usually talk in that time.
Maybe.
Okay. In that
Well, I
case,
just
it
don't
just
think
seems like we
I
have these.
probably I wouldn't commit myself to saying like definitively I value these ones always more, or definitively I value those ones always more, because
Oh
like
yeah, of
for
course.
example, right, like the author of Luke makes like a basic fucking error about like history, and they might have thought that that was true at the time, and then we would just like know better because we have like better records of it.
Well, that's such a good example. There's many like historical, like for instance, like biological mistakes made in the Bible. They're not like saying this is true. They're just using them as idioms because they constantly used within the literature at the time. For instance, I'm sure you've heard of like the mustard seed one, right? Yeah, it's just like it's like a very common idiom to refer to things as being as small as mustard seed. It's been used in many like Israeli literature back in those days. So it was like a common thing. They're not saying it's true by any
No,
means. It's just merely an
it's
idiom. I can
obviously
actually cite
fucking
you
using
this.
it in some of them. For example,
Yeah,
the blood on
I
the
will give.
cloth.
Do you want citations? Do you want
Yeah.
citations or not?
Well, wait, but you would say that they
You don't want
never
them?
made any anatomical claims for any of them? They never made like any serious anatomical claims?
No, because it's going to be idioms. They're used in literature in the same way for different things. So it's
Sure,
clearly
wait. So what
idioms.
about the law that says that if you don't bleed on your wedding night, that proves that you're not a virgin, which means that you can be like stoned to death? Do you think that that's just like an idiom? This
I'm
like
not sure
false
about that.
fucking belief
Yeah, I'm
about
agnostic.
like
I'm
female
agnostic on
anatomy?
that. I'm agnostic
Yeah,
on that
I
one.
grant that you're agnostic on female anatomy because you've never encountered it
Thank
before.
you.
Uh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I'm
But the
underage. I mean,
argument's pretty
and I hope
simple.
so.
It's just that God gives a command that's gibberish. It's like illiterate with respect to his own creation.
Okay. Anyway, so bear in mind the main claim we're supposed to be getting to is like why we should hold to the view that is actually meaning that our moral intuitions are going to be congruent with God's moral commands or normative commands. And the virtues you listed out here are prior, well, context, background information, previous interpretations, current interpretations, and also, yeah, those are the ones you listed out, right?
Mhm.
And you tend to value past interpretation more because there's like errors in translation, for instance, or transliteration sometimes. Sure, if that's the case, then all it seems to conclude it wouldn't be referring to more intuitions there, because that's usually how it's not even. That's not really how it was actually interpreted in the past. I could also send you like case studies on this. In the past, this is written on the heart. They're just saying that we tend to feel a certain way about certain actions, and that tends to be in accordance with God. But it's not moral intuitions. They're never referring to moral intuitions there. Just mere intuitions. I'll send you
So
case
you
studies from
don't
that if
think
you'd like as
that
well.
God gave us our moral intuitions?
I'll let that follow from what I just said.
Well, but I'm asking you, do you think God gave us our moral intuitions?
I think he did, yeah.
Oh,
I
cool.
wouldn't follow
Oh,
what I just
fuck.
said.
Then why would you waste everyone's time with this for the last like fucking 50 minutes when you literally just fucking agree that he
I
gave us our
think
moral
God,
intuitions?
I can
Why wouldn't God give
clarify
us moral intuitions that are more in line with his like horrific fucking actions?
because no need to. Why would he need to do that? There's no reason even why he
Because
would
if
do that
I
in the first place.
read, if you tell me that God's all good and then I open the Bible, and he's fucking commanding a genocide, I'm not gonna believe that this guy's all good.
It's just a moral, it's just a moral intuition again.
Yeah,
Like
and
we
God
can,
gave it to me. Why wouldn't God give me a moral intuition that finds that him committing genocide is good?
I was about to clarify. Yeah, I can just clarify. I mean, that may like clear things up. So I think God gave you, God made you in such a way where you can have moral intuitions. Now, whether he made these moral intuitions in a certain way, I don't think he did. I don't think that's a part of his concern. His concern was just making you in such a way we can have these moral intuitions. I don't think he made them
If
concurrent with his
God
own
gave me the
normative
moral
ethics.
intuitions, if God gave me the moral intuitions that found the stuff in the Bible to be more appealing, would there be a higher likelihood that I would be a Christian?
Uh, Likely, sure, yeah.
Yeah, does God want me to be a Christian?
Does he want you to be a Christian? How would I know?
Oh, fuck, wait, so God doesn't want everyone to be a Christian?
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
You don't think God wants to? Okay.
No, I don't think
Do
so.
you think,
Is there a
what's your
reason why I
model
should
of
believe
hell?
that?
Yeah, wait, what's your model of hell?
But did you dodge my question? Are you serious?
Yeah, wait, I'm trying to,
Why should I believe? So you're
I'll give
dodging
you
my
a reason
question.
within
Then.
your own worldview. I just need to know what your model of hell is.
Yeah, I'm an annihilationist.
Yeah, wait, so presumably God wants to maximize good, or he wants to, I don't know, share his good with people. Do you take a view on why God created it at all?
Share is good. What's that supposed to mean?
Yeah, he just wants, like, he wants morally relevant creatures.
I don't know what that means either. Morally relevant creatures? What does that mean?
Yeah, just like creatures that are morally valuable.
Sure, that doesn't sound like sharing a good though. It sounds like giving value to individuals.
That doesn't sound like sharing a good. That sounds like giving value to individuals.
That's gonna be good
Yeah. Bro, it's like the same thing in a
under
different font.
Christianity. So
Yeah,
what verse
presumably.
Yeah, what verse says that?
Says that God created to share goodness.
Okay. What I asked you, maybe I should clarify. What I'm asking is what verse states that giving value to individuals is a good thing. But I might give like negative value, for instance. So I'm just kind of confused.
Yeah, let me find some.
Yeah, no problem.
Who won that debate?
It's
I
still
don't think he's
going
done.
on.
I think he's finding some verses.
Yeah, Ian's getting Bible verses right now.
And if it takes too long, I'm just willing to grant the interpretation. But I'm curious as to why I would accept it.
For which one?
Which one? What do you mean, the interpretation?
Yeah, with the interpretation of which verse?
Yeah, the one where you're referring to the laws written in our hearts. I'm willing to just grant that if it takes too long for brevity's sake. But if you can find the verses, I'd like that. That'd be great.
Okay, wait. So do you think it's maybe a way to like circumvent this? Do you think that there's like do you think it's better to get into heaven or to not get into heaven?
I don't think there's like better either way, under my view.
You don't think it's better to go to heaven or not go to heaven?
Well, I'm a annihilationist, so I take it to be the case that we value the ability to choose over all those things. And given that hell's just going to be like non-existent and heaven's going to be like eternal existence after dying, I think you should have the will to choose either one. So they're equally valuable. I think the value might be subjective in that case.
Oh, okay. Well then, I guess there's just like no reason to be a Christian then.
Sure.
Like being Christian isn't good
Well, if you
then.
want to go to, well, be conducive to going to heaven. So you want to go to heaven, then sure. If you don't want to, then yeah.
Okay, so there's
Is there a contradiction there?
like no reason to be a Christian.
Is there a contradiction in that view?
As long not if you're fine saying that there's no reason to be Christian. If you want to say that there's no
Well, that
reason
would
to
just
be a
be false
Christian,
anyways. That would just be false
I'm actually
anyways.
fine calling it there. If
Well,
you
that'd
just
be
want to
false
admit that there's
anyways.
no reason to be a Christian.
Admit as if I disagree, but yeah, that wouldn't even be true anyways. But the reasons for it would be, for instance, like being conducive to getting into heaven. Secondly, the virtue of the Holy Spirit. These things would be reasons to be Christian, right? But you don't have to be, of course not. If you want to perish and just not live forever, then yeah, don't be a Christian. There's reasons either side. But I think the reasons outweigh at least for being a Christian.
Wait, so but you think that being a Christian isn't good? It's not like a good thing to be.
I don't know what we mean by good here. Like we ought to do it.
Yeah, it would just like something that you have like a reason to do.
I hold it's like a functionalist view of ought. So I guess you could say, yeah, if your function is trying to get into heaven, then yeah, you ought to do it.
Okay, but there's like nothing like okay. Does God want you to go to heaven?
How would I know? I guess I'd be agnostic to that. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't even know God has like mental states. I doubt it. I don't even know if he has doxascates either. I don't think he does. So that
Okay,
seems
which
kind of
one do you
weird to
think is
ask.
better? Do you think that heaven is better or annihilation is better? Or I'm sorry, maybe a better
Well,
question.
my view would be irrelevant here.
Are you a
Sorry?
moral relativist?
No,
Okay, if you're not a
more
moral
anti-realist.
relativist. Oh, sure. Wait, how do you reckon? Do you think God's good?
Yeah, God's good.
When you say you're a moral anti-realist, how do you reconcile that with God being good?
God's intersubjectively good.
Meaning,
You know, like what are you confused on? Intersubjective
well,
or
so I
which one?
understand intersubjectively good means that he's like good based on like recognitional properties, that there's like necessary
Yeah, pertaining to
prerequisites that
Christian.
are.
Your recognition properties pertaining to Christians. Yeah.
So God doesn't have like absolute goodness. He's just like goodness. He's like good to Christians.
Absolute goodness is, I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. So you have to clarify what you mean by that.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's like, I don't know. Typically Christians love that word.
Okay.
Like I guess like objectively good.
Well, I mean, I did say I'm a more anti-realist, so that should be pretty obvious.
Okay. So then you don't think God has God? You don't think God is like essentially good?
I don't take goodness to be like a central property. No.
Okay. So God is not omnibenevolent by his essence.
You know, goodness is distinct from omnibenevolence, right?
I took
Goodness is a quality.
omnibenevolence to mean like all
Being,
goodness.
yeah, I wouldn't say all goodness. All good is distinct from having the quality of goodness. Goodness, given like the suffix ness, implies it's going to be a quality. Whereas all good means you actualize the given normative standards maximally. Right? Obviously, normative standards can be intersubjective, so yeah, he is all good.
But he's not. That's not like a part of his essence.
Being all good? Yeah, that is goodness, no.
Do you hold the divine simplicity?
No?
Based? Fuck yeah, let's go. So you think that God has parts, or that he like depends on things?
Yeah, I think God's mariologically complex.
Okay, sure. So you don't think God is like the foundational being. You think that he has like dependencies.
Yeah, I think he's a say, so he depends on his parts, yeah.
Wait, you think he's ase?
Yeah, depending on his parts, yeah.
Ase means independent existence.
They mean self-sufficient. You can rely on yourself and to be self-sufficient, yeah, that's fine.
Which parts do you think he has?
Which parts do I think he has? Are you referring to his actual parts, his mariological parts?
Yeah.
What? Why would I know that? Huh? Oh, okay. I mean, what would the answer even do? I'm kind of confused on like what that's supposed to mean. Which parts does he have? It's like assuming I'm acquainted with a set of parts. I could pick out which part he has. That just seems kind of incoherent.
I'm just wondering because you said God has parts. And that's fine,
Yeah.
right? I think divine simplicity is like gibberish. In fact, I think like I don't know. I think more Christians should get rid of divine simplicity. But which parts?
Yeah, just to clarify, ask me like which parts implies there's like some set of parts that we're both acquainted with. We could just pick out and say, oh, God has like part A or element A. I don't think there is, so I don't know. I'm agnostic to that. Also, I don't think you could ever know that anyways, because God's abstractor.
God's abstract. Okay, wait. Do you think God changes?
No, abstractor, not abstract. No, I didn't say abstract.
Do you think God changes?
I think he's immutable.
So prior to creation, did God believe that the universe existed?
Prior to creation, did he believe the universe existed?
Yeah.
He doesn't have doxastic attitudes, so he doesn't have beliefs.
I guess, what do you take knowledge to? Do you think God's all-knowing?
Yeah. I take knowledge to be equivocal in this instance, though.
How would you define knowledge?
But for humans, I take ATB+, but for like God, I take it just to be like knowledge simpliciter. I take God's knowledge to be propositional, so.
To be propositional. But it's so his
Yeah,
knowledge is
so
just
God's knowledge
knowledge
is knowledge
simpliciter?
simpliciter. So, sorry,
What does that
truth
mean?
simpliciter. So truth
Truth
simplicity.
simpliciter. What does that mean?
Yeah, just not is truth without justification or belief because he doesn't have mental attitudes. So it's true propositions. That's really what it is. Does that make sense?
What relation does he stand in with those?
What do you mean?
Because okay, so we would say that we stand in relation with our beliefs. Or okay,
Would you say that?
so yeah, we do. Like we have our
Why?
beliefs. Does I don't know what it means. Like, does God have these truths? What is I just don't know what that means.
I don't know what you mean either, honestly.
When you say
What do you
God
mean?
has knowledge, but he doesn't believe these things. I don't know what it means for God to just have truths. I don't know what that means.
Oh, yeah. So just take it in case that God has a mind. And mind is part of God. And given he has a mind, he can cognize things, right? And he cognizes true propositions. That's what I take it to be. I don't think God's act is pure anyway, so I don't care about that.
What does it mean for God to cognize something?
Yeah, to ground something in his mind.
Ground something. So, do you think God is the ground of truth?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So, is God the ground of the truth, or is he just the ground for the fact that it's in his mind?
Ground for the fact is in his mind. That corresponds to all true propositions. Yep.
Okay, but God doesn't have justification for any of these, or
Nope. Just a mental
and
attitude.
he doesn't believe them.
Nope. Just a mental attitude.
So God doesn't believe that 2 + 2 is 4.
Nope. He just knows it to be true.
Okay, he knows it to be true, but he doesn't believe that it's true. What does it mean to
Yeah.
know
This
it
is.
if he doesn't believe it?
I've just said. Oh Lord. So, no means to just have. Well, no just refers to truth simplicity, right? In this instance, but like, is that a contradiction here? I'm kind of confused.
It's
I
just like
suspect you're trying to get
completely
some
incoherent. I
absurdity.
have like genuinely no idea what
Oh
this
yeah.
even
So what's the
means.
contradiction then? Yeah. What's the
I'm
contradiction?
not saying that there's a contradiction. I'm saying that I have no clue what it means. I don't think anybody knows what this means. I think that if we went like
Is
person to
that relevant?
person in this VC, I don't think anybody would know what it means for God
That
to
would make
have
it
this
false.
like beliefless knowledge. Like I
That
don't
would make
think
it false,
it's
right?
just incoherent, right? Like it's just
Wait,
like
hold on. And that would make it false, right?
I'm not saying that it's false. I'm saying that I have
That's
no
just
idea what it
irrelevant.
means.
That's just highly irrelevant, right?
Do
So
you want to
if you
clarify
ask
it?
me these questions, not really, right? So
Oh,
I've already
okay.
explained to you that God's knowledge is just a true proposition. That's really it. That's all it is.
And you would grant that he's not knowing in the way that we're knowing?
Yeah, I just told you. Well, I told you initially. I take knowledge or knowing to be used equivocally here. So yeah,
Okay, so sure. So prior to creation, did God ground the universe exists? That proposition?
the ground the universe exists.
Yeah, and his mind was the universe
But what do we
exists
mean by
grounded.
universe here? But what are we supposed to be
Just like
meaning by universe?
the field bearing manifold.
A field bearing manifold. I don't know what manifold's supposed to mean here either.
So a manifold is just like a mathematical object whereby the things at one point are approximately similar to the things at other points that are close by.
I think if we went through every single person in this VC and asked them what that meant, I think. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, still doesn't really clarify what it is for me. So I would say I'm agnostic to that.
Do you think God created the universe?
Nah, I'm a bucking idealist.
So you don't think God made all the stuff?
In the way you're using made, as in composing material, nah. I'm a Berkeleyan idealist.
What sort of relation do you think God has to the
What do you mean by that?
universe? Is he creator, sustainer? Like what is he?
You could say sustainer in a weak sense, sure.
Do you think he like made Earth in the way that it says in the Bible?
Yeah, so I don't think that. I hold to a view called what's it called? Yeah, I forgot. Basically, it's just the view. The Bible is written in such a way where it's understandable. So some things aren't actually completely true, but it's just really to convey the meaning or make it more understandable for individuals. So no, I don't think that's the case. I think God's well, I just hold to Berkeley idealism, so I think everything's grounded in God's mind. Effectively. Yeah.
Well, okay, it just seems like the Bible is like blatantly full of falsehoods if you don't even think God made the universe or like God didn't make if God didn't make the earth,
Mm-hmm.
then the
What do
Bible
you
is just
take
like
like
full of nonsense.
mm-hmm. What do you take for instance, oxymorons to be false? Like any we take all oxymorons to be false, for instance.
Uh I'd probably be I haven't looked into this, so I'd probably be agnostic.
You know what oxymorons are though, right?
Um each of them is contradictory, so maybe they would be false if each is contradictory.
Wait, but hold on. But they convey true propositions. So they're all just false. So these true propositions are false?
Wait, can you give me the example of the true oxymoron?
Yeah, so for like say to you, like the room the silence in the room is so loud, right? That's just conveying that the silence is yeah.
Sure,
It's just very yeah. Right?
I
That's
see what you're saying,
true.
sure.
Yeah.
Um,
So I'm sure we can
then
like
that's
agree.
fine. Those ones are
Yeah.
totally fine insofar as it's like a question of like the sense being invoked.
Yeah, so what's the relevant symmetry break between things in the Bible and these oxymorons?
Well, okay, it's just that there's no sense that could possibly reconcile all these verses that talk at length about how God is the creator, about how God made everything, about how God made the heavens and the earth. Like what sense of the word is being invoked here?
Are you just like shifting the okay? Look, I tried to ask you a question. You've kind of dodged it by doing that. I don't really appreciate that. You should try and answer it.
The question about um
Yeah, what's the relevant symmetry breaker?
I did give you an answer.
So you could just say the one word it is. So what's the relevant symmetry breaker between oxymorons and things of the Bible?
An identifiable sense of the meaning.
What do you mean by sense it? What?
Just like the way the word is being used and the sense reference distinction.
That's completely two different. Okay, so by the way, like, have you heard of like Wittgenstein's private languages? Have you read into that?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
So you would never really know what they say. You would never know the actual content of these words. But we can at least like draw good conclusions as to what they're likely saying. That'll just be trivially true for all times.
Sure. Well, what do you
So if
think
that's
God
a
is
symmetry
saying in like
breaker, well, hold
Genesis?
on. So if that's hold on, that's not gonna be relevant. So if that's a symmetry breaker, right? All words trivially, if you put them in conjunction, would never be true. That's gonna be a big fat issue.
Well, wait. So I
All
said
right.
that I've heard of Wittgenstein's private language argument. I'm agnostic to it. I don't grant it.
Okay. So you would say you can know like what people mean by words, right?
Yeah.
Infallibly. So if I said to you, for instance, like
Oh,
broken
wait,
spark, what is that supposed to
infallibly?
mean?
Infallibly? What the fuck?
But
Why
let's
is the
just say,
standard infallibly?
okay, my bad, my bad.
Are
Let's just
you
say,
wait?
let's
Are
just say
you an
fallibly, right?
infallibilist
No,
about
no, no. I was
knowledge?
kidding. I was kidding. Let's just say fallibly, right? Let's just say fallibly. So I said like broken spark to you, for instance. You know what that means, right?
No.
Well, hold on. Okay, like I'll define it for you. Broken slack means X, Y, and Z. So now you know what it means, right?
No.
Well, yeah, because you need to know what X, Y, and Z means. And it goes on ad infinitum. So you would never really know.
But you could, right? You could like physically point to something in the world. You could bring somebody a ball. You could bring something, a whole bunch, like an
That
array of
assumes direct
objects
realism. That assumes
or an
direct
array of
realism.
things.
Yeah, I need the argument for direct
Wait,
realism.
are you
The
fucking
premise one?
arguing for like radical skepticism, like or like
No, I'm asking for. Do you think my questions are indicative of my views? I'm asking you for an argument for direct realism. Go ahead.
I'm not necessarily arguing for direct realism. This is also compatible with
I know you're
indirect
not. That's why I'm
realism.
asking you for it, right?
Bro, this guy is
Hold
so
on. This
incredibly
assumes
bad
it.
faith. Wait, so
I'm
so
very good faith. What the hell?
to be clear, so God just like sucks dick at communicating?
Yeah, that's a crazy sentence. Look, that's going to be relevant to your proof for direct realism, by the way.
I never made the claim that direct realism is true.
I know you didn't say that, right? That's going to assume the claim you made assumes that. So what's the proof?
So it could be direct
What?
realism or indirect realism. Either is compatible.
Wait, so if we hold to indirect realism, I pointed to something. I said the word. You think the word's going to have a one-to-one correspondence to the actual ontology? Because direct realism doesn't posit that. It posits the exact opposite.
No, I'm not making an infallible claim. The claim that I'm making is like a probabilistic one
Then
that,
you
you know,
would
if
know.
my
Then
senses
you
are
wouldn't know either.
working,
Then.
it's just
But
like
then,
statistically
wait,
significant.
wait,
Well, wait,
hold
only if
on.
you're an infallibilist
But
about
then you
knowledge, but
wouldn't know.
infallibilism is self-defeating.
How's it self-defeat? Can you explain?
Because you can't infallibly know that infallibilism is true.
Hold on. Can you prove that?
I mean, I've just never heard like an argument that would establish infallibilism. You can't even know. So, for example, right, like you can't
Wait.
infallibly know that your experience happened like 5 minutes ago.
So because you haven't heard an argument for it, right? You use that to make an inference that is false. You serious?
A
That just seems
probabilistic
fallacious to
one.
me.
I'm making like an
still
inductive
fallacious
claim. I'm
regardless.
not making like a. I'm not making like
Wait,
a
by the way, like lack of evidence wouldn't decrease
necessary
credence. By
claim.
the way, it'll just keep it neutral.
Bro, this
It wouldn't
guy's getting
decrease
like
credence.
so wait, and I like I understand, right? You got backed into a corner, which is why you're trying to get like super bad faith with this. Do you think
Look, I've been
infallibilism
very
is
good faith
true?
so far.
You have not been
My
very
view
good
would be
faith so far.
my bad. I'm sorry for being bad faith, but my view would be irrelevant because I'm just asking you what you're supposed to mean by these terms, and you haven't really clarified any of them. I asked you earlier what you mean, for instance, like absolute good. You said it's like objective good. You could say objective
Yeah.
initially. Now I'm trying to figure out what your view is on this, and you don't really clarify. You
My
said
view on
earlier
what?
that we can't knowledge. You said we can know things, right? We can know these terms and their meanings. If we would say, for instance, we could say a term, it points to something in reality, right? But that assumes direct realism, and the reason I believe that is because you're saying that this actually has one-to-one correspondence. If not, then you're not pointing to the thing. You don't know if they actually have any correspondence. Does that make sense? Do you see why I'm saying that?
Wait, and by no, what do you mean there?
Well,
When
my
you
view
said
of
you
knowledge is
can't
actually
actually know
relevant.
the thing, what does no mean there when you use the word?
But that'll be relevant because I'm just using it because you used it.
You don't think the
Also,
definition of the word that you used is relevant? You used
I'm
the
sure it's
word.
relevant, but you used it.
Wait,
You're
wait,
the
you
one using
used the term,
knowledge.
clarify the term that
I'm
you
using the same.
invoked.
I'm using the same way you used it, so that'll be irrelevant.
No, we're not. We use knowledge in different ways.
Okay. Do you hold to
Also,
GTP?
you're not doing that because I'm not an infallibilist about knowledge. So you're
Neither
absolutely
am I.
not.
I'm
So
a
when you
fallibilist.
say,
I'm a
"Oh,
fallibilist.
cool. Oh, awesome.
We're both
Great.
fallibilists.
Phenomenal." So then we agree that you can know these things.
No.
You don't think that you can know anything about external reality?
No.
Do you know that we're having this conversation right now?
No. I have seemings towards it.
Do you think seemings give justification?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Are you justified in believing that?
That's a good question. Like, what do you mean by justification? Like, what's the principle for
It's like
justification?
like a thing that favors a belief.
Yeah, but I'm asking like the criteria for that.
A criteria. Okay.
Yeah, like for justification.
I don't know. Whatever you think provides justification. In your view,
I'm agnostic on that.
is okay. And are you justified in your agnosticism?
Huh? You think you can be justified in the lack of a double substance? I see it. That just seems like a category.
Yeah. Well, oh, yeah, of course, right? Like if somebody presented you like a whole bunch of evidence for something, presumably you would be unjustified.
No.
I'm sorry, I read Eric's message. That's really funny.
What Eric said? Oh, now I'm getting a little bit nervous. My bad.
No. It wasn't
Sorry, go
about
ahead.
you. It wasn't about you.
Oh,
It was
just
about it
getting
was about
low.
the goat, always official.
I'm sorry, I'm just getting a little bit nervous now.
Wait, is somebody talking to me?
I'm blushing a little bit. Go ahead.
Yeah, shut that
Was
ass up, Ian.
Oh, fuck. Always official. Bro, not this
Yeah.
guy. This
What up?
guy's like the least talented person of all time.
You know what? Look, this
As you lose,
I
like,
agree.
every
I
single
have
day.
actually been Ian. I have actually been very bad at it. Let's just go back. I'm willing to grant you the interpretation. Okay, I think it's taken way too long. Now, the inference you're making from the interpretation is that if we intuit X, like some more intuition about X, then this actually indicates what God also believes, or I shouldn't say believes, what is actually morally just or like morally unjust, for instance. Correct? It would be congruent with God's normative standards, right?
Sure.
Okay. And from there, how does this make an issue for the evidential problem of evil?
So, if our moral intuitions are aligned with God's moral intuitions, then the fact that a lot of the things that God does are like wildly out of line with our moral intuitions is just very surprising. Because you would
Yeah, I
expect,
think
like, if God's moral intuitions were our moral intuitions, you would just expect that these things would like line up.
okay.
For
Let
the
me
most
ask you:
part,
if
at
these
least, probably
evils,
not always.
if evil was logically necessary, would you then say at least that it decreases the credence given to the evidential problem of evil as evil is much more expected now? If it was logically necessary, would you say that?
I'm not sure in the case of specifically God commanding these evils, or like when God is like the actor pulling them off. I'm not sure that lowers the credence.
Well, that
Like
just
if
implies that
if the argument is that it's like
conduct
necessary
contradictions.
for God to do this, then sure.
Okay. Well, I'm not even arguing. Hey, I'm just asking. Like, do you agree with the conditional? If evil is logically necessary, would that decrease the credence given to the EB? I think it would, presumably because they're saying that it's unexpected under the hypothesis that God is all good and omnipotent and such. So evil is unexpected, but if it's logically possible, sorry, if it's logically necessary, it would be more expected, right? That's what it looks like to me.
In cases of God like commanding it though, that's when I take issue with.
What will be what will be the relevant symmetry breaker there? How does that change it?
Yeah, because okay, so God has a reason where it's like, or okay, it's logically necessary for God to allow evil, or it's like logically necessary for like XYZ instance of evil to exist. I might be able to grant that. What I don't think is plausible is that God himself, there's like, is logically required to do an evil action. That to me. Well, I mean, okay, if you demonstrated that, I don't see how. I'm sorry, I'm like rambling all over myself. Let me
No,
make
you're
this
good.
concise. I don't think the fact that God, um, I don't think the fact that God is logically required to allow evil somehow would be a justification for God himself like doing something evil.
But I take it to the case and tell me if you disagree that if God is all good, that means he finds reason to like oppose evil, for instance, right? Like categorical evils. Well, this opposition assumes these things like metaphysically possible, which means they exist in some possible worlds, but they could just cease to exist, right? If that's the case, then sure, we can take problem with this. But if they must exist in all possible worlds, then there's like nothing God can really do, so it wouldn't be like a valid opposition to have, even though it is evil, truly, right?
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
So, if God's all good, he has reason to oppose evil. Do you agree with that so far?
Sure.
This is opposition assumes the evil can be like, for instance, like vanquished, for instance, right? Let's just say that.
Sure.
Okay, that means this could be metaphysically possible. So it exists in some possible worlds, but not all possible worlds, right?
Like the vanquishing of the evil?
Yeah.
Why would I think that it exists in some but not all?
Yeah, if it's logically possible for God to act, right, and like it comports of his nature or is consistent with nature, I think it would occur because it's like I think there's an infinite amount of possible worlds. I'm not a modal realist by any means, but if we like use like semantics for possible semantics, if if there's infinite amount of possible worlds, I think it exhausts all the possible outcomes or possible actions. So I think it would just trivially follow that there's a possible world God did X because X is logically possible. Sorry, X is metaphysically possible. Is that fair to say?
Do you think it's okay? Wait. And this might just not be a problem for your philosophy, but do you think it's metaphysically possible for God to do an evil action?
I'm agnostic to that, honestly. I'd probably say, yeah, I'm agnostic because I do think I can prove that evil is logically necessary. So I'm not sure.
So, okay, I guess I feel like you definitely run into, I feel like there's like Bible verses that are like almost utterly like irreconcilable.
I'm not.
If you were to
I'm not even like
say,
sola scriptura, so I wouldn't really be too concerned.
yeah, sure, but I mean, if you think God can do evil, even like things that are evil in His own view,
Mhm.
then that just seems like inconsistent. You
That's
like
if he could.
surely,
That's if he could
surely you don't
prevent
think
it.
God is like surely you don't think God is perfect at that point, right?
I do. I think perfection just means God's doing all good things that He can do in His potency. For instance, it could be good to let's just say like it's good to make a square circle. It could be good to do that, but God just couldn't do that.
Well,
So
can
I mean,
God just like not genocide like the Amalekite babies?
I'm about to give the argument for why. I think, I think he could, and I think he has to. I think evil must obtain.
Wait, so there's no possible world where God doesn't genocide babies?
No possible world where there's no evil on earth. Yeah, yeah.
That's not what I said. Just like where He specifically doesn't genocide babies.
Oh no, that happens in all possible world. Hopefully.
Based? But okay. So there's.
But yeah, I mean,
I'm
I
sorry.
hold to
Wait, we should
Thomas'
pick
view.
this up later. I have to go to bed, but we should pick this up later.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's gonna prove it's logically necessary. Okay, well,
Well, wait.
so
I'll
yeah,
I'll let you give the proof. Yeah, go for it.
yeah. So I hold to Thomas' view where God has the property of uniqueness, which means that no other ontology shares its properties. God has the property of being all good, and the world's going to be an ontology. Therefore, the world lacks the property of being all good. So evil must obtain in the world. Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay, that's interesting. I'll think about that. All right. Yeah, it was good. It was good to talk to you. Damn.
All right,
Always
appreciate it. Sorry
official.
about the.
You should No, you're good. Don't worry about it. No hard feelings. Always official. You should take your own life.
Mhm.
You should hop in the shower. You should read a book. You should get a job. You should go to the gym. Yeah.
You want to go bank account for bank account?
No. So you can go to the gym.
Ye-
You can get a job.
I'm literally a
You can
software
hop in the
engineer.
shower.
Like my job title is software engineer.
Okay, so your job title is what?
Software engineer.
Software engineer. Go ahead and show me, Mr. Software Engineer.
Oh Lord.
Just want like the bank account reveal.
No, I want you to show me that you're a software engineer, and I want to know how much you make monthly or yearly.
Oh, would you accept like just like the
Okay,
deposits
so
that I
no, I
get?
wouldn't accept that. I want to see a paycheck, and I want to
Yeah,
know how much you make monthly or yearly. Are you self-employed? Like, do you go
no.
out and like
Yeah,
post ads for yourself? Do
I
you
make
work for a
90
company?
grand a
Like, how do
year.
you do this?
I make 90 grand a year as being a software engineer.
For what company?
And then I'm not going to share that.
So how do we know if you're telling the truth?
I'm not going to fucking dox myself. What the fuck?
Okay, well then have a nice day, sir. So like I said, I
Okay.
hope you get a job. I hope you hop